We're here at Distributech and I've bumped into Reji. Reji, you're here with an Indian delegation at Distributech. I had the opportunity to work with some Indian utilities in the past couple of years. Now you guys have some unique opportunities and challenges there. What are the big opportunities in the Indian utility industry this year?
First of all, thank you very much for this conversation. Really appreciate. Last year, we completed village electrification. 598,000 villages have been electrified. That's
598,000
villages have been electrified. We completed that village electrification. And now a new program government started, household electrification. There are many millions of houses left out. Although villages, electricity has come to the village, but there are many houses which are still not connected. There are about 25 million households which are
not 25 million
households which are not connected to the grid. A targeted program. There are 90% of them are in 4 or 5 states, in the north and eastern parts of the country. So a targeted program to completely through a government grant, the government appointed contractors go to people's house. They put the wiring and the bulb and the electric fan and give them free electricity connection. Almost 18 or 19 million they have just completed that program. So which means we are pulling 1 billion people out of energy poverty through electrification, and at the same time we are also greening our grid. 175,000 megawatt of renewable energy
being added
by 2022, of which 100,000 is going to be from solar. Out of the 100,000, 40,000 megawatt from rooftop. And rooftop has currently become economically attractive for most categories of customers because the price has come down below $600 to $700. A 1 kilowatt system without storage you can buy for $600 to $700. And that is attractive because in India most of the part we have very good sunlight for
a lot of the year.
1,500, 1,800 units it can generate a year. So the return on investment is less than 3 years or 4 years maximum, depending on what category electricity you are consuming and how much you are paying to the grid. So just imagine this 40,000 megawatt of renewable rooftop solar from 20 million buildings injecting electricity into the grid. So I first talked about electrifying the country, taking the grid to every nook and corner to the village, 500,000 plus villages. Now all those places turning into...
They're suddenly prosumers.
All of them, theoretically, yes. All across the country, 29 states, 7 union territories, we have net metering policies. So theoretically, every customer, 300 million plus customers, everyone can become a prosumer, theoretically. So when that happens in large numbers, in millions of prosumers come in, just imagine the nature of the grid, how are we going to... So the digitalization and the technology-driven grid transformation is something which is the need of the hour, and it's a great opportunity. The government wants to convert all meters into smart meters. That's how you are talking about 300 million meters in the entire country. In their country, 5 to 7 years, and the prices of the meters have come down. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when we talk about smart metering, the meter prices were a few $100s. Today,
it was just when we were chatting back then. It was just
So today it is $30 to $50. That price range, we are getting smart meters with two-way communication feature. So
opens up all sorts of new possibilities.
So millions of meters, smart metering rollout process have already started. Government also appointed a government agency, a central agency called Energy Efficiency Services. They have been asked to aggregate demand from different utilities from different states and issue big tender for 5 million meters, 10 million meters, and deploy AMI. So that has already started. And another very important point is the electric vehicle, which is going to be millions of them going to be connecting to the grid. So the grid which we designed, built, is going to have all these challenges of prosumers, the challenges of electric vehicles. These were new animals which didn't exist. We didn't design grid for that. But it's a very challenging time for this transformation.
And you mentioned when we were just chatting earlier was that the other thing you're focused on is you don't want to deploy the technology that we had here 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, why would you? You want to leapfrog and take
exactly
today's technology.
The latest technology which are available today. That's exactly what ISGF has been, India Smart Grid Forum has been advocating.
Yep.
We don't need to go through the pain points of
do everything that happened in the West for 10 years.
We don't need to take the same route. We straight away adopt the latest technology which is available. New architecture, new standards, new systems. That's a great opportunity for us. Straight away from the old utility to a digital utility. We don't need to go through the incremental process.
No, agreed.
And the new systems are more cost effective, scalable, and readily available.
Well, the size of the opportunity and the size of the rollouts and stuff is just staggering. Now, you mentioned with the India Smart Grid Forum, you guys have your India Smart Grid Week in middle of March, in a couple of weeks' time, in New Delhi.
Yes.
What are the key themes of the event this year?
Okay, so you would have heard of Smart City program Government of India launched. So 100 smart cities. So in
100?
100 smart cities. So in a smart city or in any place for that matter, without electricity, 24/7 reliable electricity supply, nothing works. So all the smart cities need to have smart grid. So if for the smart grid we allow some digital systems, digital assets and communication systems which can be leveraged for automating other domains like water distribution, gas distribution, traffic control, security cameras, all that field devices and systems.
A lot of the kind of technologies that are on show here.
Which you are seeing.
Yeah.
So my same communication system for my SCADA, for my AMI, for my smart metering, that can be used for automating the metering system of the gas and the water. The billing system can be same. The GIS map, digital map can be same. All of them can share. So that is something which we have been advocating. So keeping in view of the Smart City program, this time, the 5th edition of Smart Grid Week, we renamed to Smart Utility Week. So one full day dedicated parallel session on water distribution, one full day dedicated session on city gas distribution. So these are the main change than the Smart Grid Week which we have been doing earlier.
For the last 4 years.
But on the Smart Grid part of it, the main key themes we are talking about this time is the digitalization. And we have several parallel events including focused workshop on certain topics, as well as bilateral workshops. We have been doing European Union and India workshops. The 7th edition we will be doing on 13th of March, the very first day after the inaugural session. We have a workshop on blockchain for utilities, which is done with in cooperation with Energy Web Foundation and Energy Blockchain Consortium USA.
They had a session here, and Energy Web Foundation are very strong in Europe.
Both of them will be working on that with us. And we are also have a very interesting session which is Future Skill 2030. Skilling for the jobs in 2030. We often hear that the jobs which will be in 2030
haven't existed or haven't been defined yet.
So what are it? At least we need to have a dialogue about that. So that is something which we are doing that. And we also have on the next day the power market. There is a electricity amendment bill in the parliament, which is once it is passed, utilities have to. Today we have the monopoly distribution licensees. They are have the network also. They are doing the supply also. So they will become a network operator. And then there will be retail competition for supply. So the ones that
that's a massive change.
That's a massive change. So within 5 years after the bill is passed, all utilities distribution companies have to change to a distribution network operator and allow retail competition. So wire business separate, supply business separate. So the market need to evolve. So with Florence School of Regulations, we are doing a power market workshop. Market design. Power market design workshop, which is a full day session with the support of Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, European Commission, and Florence School of Regulation, doing it on 14th. We also have the US-India workshop. We have a very interesting and advanced microgrid workshop. We are doing it along with the US DOE, Department of Energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the main theme on discussions on 14th is on mainstreaming renewables and energy storage. ISGF is preparing a roadmap for India on energy storage roadmap for India. So that work we have almost 90% completed. So we'll be discussing about the energy storage roadmap as well. And the last day, most into energy transition and mobility transition, electric mobility.
As you said earlier, you don't need hybrids. You're going straight to EVs.
Straight to EVs. So 13 of the most polluted 20 cities in the world are in India, and Delhi being the most polluted. So, and a significant portion of this pollution coming from automobile transport. So the government has a focused approach towards electrification of transportation. So there are a whole lot of work going on in last 2 years.
It's going to be a busy couple of days.
Yeah. So the last day, the electric vehicle session, we are mobility transition. We are doing it in partnership with Rocky Mountain Institute, who have been active in India in the same area past couple of years. So we also doing a women in power, which is a topic which we hear all around. Gender equality is very poor in power industry. It is in single digits actually. So except in ISTF, we have more.
You're bucking the trend.
We have more women in our office than men, but we had to do that across the industry.
I agree. And it's not just in India. Look around here, right?
Exactly.
It's getting better, but there's a long way to go.
Yeah. And that session we are doing with the support of C3E. That's an IEA initiative. They are helping us put that together. We are also talking about a regional grid integration. So some work happened on the regional grid. In South Asia, we talk about SARI grid. South Asia, SARC, South Asia Association of Regional Cooperation, SARC grid. There's an ASEAN grid, that's for the Southeast Asian countries. And there's a GCC, Gulf Cooperation countries, the GCC grid. So these three grids are by and large formed in like in ASEAN, we are 8 countries, 4 of them are already connected. 2 of them, Sri Lanka, there's a plan to connect. Maldives is quite far.
That's a big cable.
I mean, they don't have a grid itself. So Maldives may not be connected anytime soon. But on the western side again, Pakistan and Afghanistan are there. There have been political problems there, so that grid is also not connected at a high voltage level. Although India supply electricity to Pakistan at low voltage in many isolated villages in Pakistan. So there is cooperation, but major grid has not happened. So SARC grid.
So that's happening. You're having that as well on the last day.
Yeah, we are
facilitating
inviting all of them. ASEAN grid, of the 10 countries, 7 or 8 of them are connected already. GCC, 6 countries, they are already connected. So interconnecting these 3 regional grids will give an immense opportunity for renewable energy balancing. So we have 5 hours of time difference from Singapore to Saudi Arabia. And it will be a great opportunity for the Gulf countries to have larger share of solar energy, which can be smoothened and managed by the flexibility offered by the Indian market or the East Asian market, from where hydro is there. And also the 5-hour time gap is a very good means of
the balancing of people getting up and going to bed.
Exactly. So that's a great opportunity. We are starting a discussion about interconnection of these 3 regional grids. So these are all happening. So there are so many different themes and so many, as you have seen, world's top experts from around the world assembled in our program. And this year also, we expect all of them to be there. We have a special workshop with France. Enedis, including the CEO of Enedis and the top 11 senior most officers are coming. So we think smart grid and
Valerie
and Philip Monalugo, he himself is coming. And we have a India France smart grid workshop which is happening on 14th. and there is also likely to a sister utility tie-up between Bangalore Electricity Supply Company and NADIS.
Okay.
And that dialogue is on. If all goes well, that MOU will be signed in the event. So NADIS will become a sister utility for Bangalore, our IT capital of India. So
you guys don't do things by half, huh? It's got some big problems, some big challenges, but hey, I wish you well.
Thank you very much.
You'll have a busy week.
Look forward to having you, Kevin, there.
I can't make it this time, but I'll make the next one. I was there a couple of years ago and it was great fun.
Thank you.